Our next Alabama-bound author, Melissa Delbridge.
Thank you so much for being here. I hope I don't blast y'all out with this microphone because my voice tends to carry. This is my book, Family Bible. It is not a religious book. Trust me on this. It's a book about race, about sexuality, and about growing up in Tuscaloosa, Alabama in the 1960s and 70s. I started writing this book while I was doing a fellowship at Duke University's John Hope Franklin Institute, and was fortunate enough that it caught the eye, some essays I wrote caught the eye of the editor of University of Iowa Press, and that's how the book came to be. It is a book about race and sex, but it's also a book about family, a book about seeing people with all of their flaws and choosing to love them anyway. It is a book about forgiveness more than anything else. And I'm going to do a short reading from this for you. This is my handsome daddy on the cover. He was one of the most beautiful men who ever walked the face of the earth, and Lord, he knew it. And I'm the curly-headed baby further on down. Swimming and sex seemed a lot alike to me when I was growing up. You took off most of your clothes to do them, and you only did them with people who were the same color as you. As your daddy got richer, you got to do them in fancier places. On the way to eat venison chili at the home of one of his girlfriends, my father confessed that he and my mother could not stand the sight of each other anymore and had decided to divorce. Whenever he had something important to tell me, Daddy'd say, "Come on, baby," and hand me the car keys. He'd sip and give directions till the blacktop ended, and we rode on dirt and gravel. I took a pull of whiskey from the flask he offered, passed it back to him, and drove his Cadillac off the muddy road and into a muddier ditch. Fortunately, we both wore seat belts, and I was driving slowly, as it was nighttime and raining, and I didn't know how the hell to get to Lorene's. Daddy pulled me out the passenger door since my side lay on the ground. Once he'd established that I hadn't been injured, we started trudging the mile to Lorene's house hand in hand. "You still gonna love me?" "That won't never stop," he replied, knowing without my saying that I meant after I wrecked his car rather than after the divorce. Long ago, used to my here today, gone tomorrow father, I felt confident that not much would change. I apologized about his Cadillac. That one was maroon with white leather upholstery. "Oh, hell, baby," he replied. "Won't be no harm done. Me and Fritz will get Kenny's tractor tomorrow and pull it right out. Anybody asks tonight, I swerved to miss a deer." At the time, I thought it the most gallant thing I'd ever heard. In retrospect, I realized he said it because we were celebrating my 11th birthday that night. Most of my librarian's colleagues at Duke would probably be afraid of most of my relatives. To be honest, I can't blame them. Shaking hands with a couple of my cousins in broad daylight's enough to make you sleep with the lights on till Groundhog Day. But Daddy's different. Despite his occasional run-in with the authorities and his deep and abiding faith that all sentient beings should carry loaded pistols, the man could flat out charm. So let's be fair. His legal problems usually had to do with the finer points of arms bearing, something he said when he got thanked for not smoking, or the way he drove, both cars and women, the former too fast and the latter damn near crazy. I thought about my father often after I finished graduate school when the big alligators wandered into the parking lot of my apartment building in Baton Rouge from the Bayou de Plantier across the street. You'd step on the little ones right often. It hurt me to see them car-mashed, usually dead, about a foot long max. I worked in the Special Collections Library at LSU then, and I would find what was left of them in the morning, dried flat and already soldered onto the warm, sun-warmed Louisiana asphalt, looking like retreads from a tricycle blowout. You didn't see the big ones much. Adult alligators, unlike us, get smarter and shyer with time and experience. Once in a while, though, a big one would slither out of the mud and cross Lee Drive by night, seduced by a resident corgi scent or by a 3-day-old leftover étouffée ripening in the dumpster. There would be shouts, squeals, car lights, flashlights, and finally, blue lights. Men would come armed with darts, guns, loops on sticks, and big ideas. A couple of times they actually managed to capture the outraged creature without hurting themselves. But more often he'd lunge, and his tormentors would shriek and cuss and jump back further than you'd think they could, hell, further than they'd think they could. And then he'd take his time, lumbering on back to the bayou where he could be his reptilian self without getting into trouble. And that's when I'd think about Daddy. He was easygoing and slow to anger in his element, but once in a while he'd just venture out too far, get caught in the headlights of more refined and genteel folks, and simply scare the living shit out of them. Thank you.